Hey Turtle Nerds, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I wanted to show you guys how easy and cheap it can be to set up a really good hatchling enclosure for your turtles that still gives them all of the proper things that they need, such as lighting, heating, filtration, for around $50 or so. So let's get right into it. So one of the first things that you're gonna have to do is identify what species of turtle you have. And odds are, if you did what you were supposed to and you did plenty of research before getting your turtle, then you will know exactly what kind it is, kind of the requirements that it needs, and sort of whether or not it's a good swimmer or if it's a bad swimmer, and whether or not it can really take warmer temperatures or if it likes to stay on a little bit of the cooler side. So to start out, I'm going to show you guys how to set up a really cheap and affordable red ear slider hatchling tank, and you can use this tub pretty much until they get around this big or so, and at that point you can then upgrade to a much larger setup. So then I'm going to show you guys sort of how you can tweak the environment of your hatchling enclosure for a different species of turtle, one with a little bit of different requirements. So this is an example of an extremely simple turtle tub that you guys can set up. All it is a plastic bin, a heat lamp, a wood for a basking area, a heater, and I just pulled out the filter so that way basically the water would not be moving so we could see in here. And this houses one little baby red ear slider right there. And that is little Hope. And so she was found on my campus, and normally I would never ever recommend pulling a turtle from the wild. However, red ear sliders are invasive. They're an invasive species, and so either we had to care for her and keep her, or otherwise she would have to be put down, which I did not want to do, so here she is. So to show you guys how simple of a setup you guys can have, I mean, for this particular setup, I would recommend a little bit more plant cover, because as you can see, little Hope really does like to hide. However, you can see that she is thriving and doing very well. So I just tossed in a little bit of food. There she goes. So you can see she's still very skittish, but she is a hatchling red ear slider, which most people have. And so I just wanted to show you guys that keeping these aquatic turtles is really not that difficult as long as you have this heat lamp, a heater, a little bit of plant cover, not too much water flow with a filter, and a basking area. So her shell is nice and hard. You can see she's growing very well. She has grown significantly since the last time I've seen her, because these guys are really tough, and in proper conditions they can grow really quickly and get quite large in quite a small amount of time. And this is one healthy little red ear slider. So as an example of a different type of hatchling turtle that you guys might have, this right here is Jelly. And Jelly is a North American spotted turtle. And I don't really feature him as much on this channel because he's not nearly as personable as the Diamondback Terrapins. However, as he's starting to get older, he is starting to sort of, as a horrible, horrible pun, come out of his shell. So basically, I'm going to take you guys through how this differs from what you saw before with the red ear slider tank, and how there are a lot of similarities. And I sort of want to show you guys how most hatchling setups are pretty much the same, and there's a very slight variability in them. So normally I feed little Jelly in a separate enclosure, as I recommend you all do, but I just wanted you guys to see how cute he is when he munches. Some similarities between this setup and the one that we saw before are that they're both a plastic tub. Both of them have some cover and plant matter. They both have a nice filter, a basking area, and a multi-spectrum UVA UVB light that provides heat as well as UVB radiation, which, as we know, is totally necessary for synthesizing vitamin D in turtle species. So the reason that this setup is different from the red ear slider setup is because Jelly, as a North American spotted turtle, actually is not a very good swimmer. I'm gonna show you guys his hands. And so on his little feet, he actually does not really have that much webbing. If you look there, and we can compare it to the red ear slider, you can see that Jelly doesn't really have a lot of webbing in his back feet or his front feet. And this means that he's not a very good swimmer. So a lot of people sometimes assume that spotted turtles are good swimmers, but they're actually not. Therefore, it's really important with spotted turtles. This also goes for musk turtles, mud turtles, and other turtles kind of in that general area. Most species are great swimmers. Map turtles, sliders, cooters, terrapins, things like that. But there are the very few, like little Jelly here, who are not the best at motoring around. Therefore, the water level of this enclosure is only a couple of inches. However, he still needs this plant material and other items in the enclosure in order to climb to the surface to get a breath of air, more so than swimming. As you can see there, he was looking for something to grab onto and pull himself to the surface. So hatchling enclosures need a nice bit of plant material, usually fake. One reason that I recommend fake plant material is because live plants, if you can't keep them right, will decay and actually increase the ammonia in your tank. But as you can see, hatchling turtles, it is basically their job to stay hidden. So if you have them in a tank with no cover at all and no caves such as that one, odds are they're going to be a little bit stressed out and they're going to feel vulnerable, and that could lead to some issues down the road. Also, sometimes hatchlings are not the best swimmers, even ones that are known to be good swimmers such as terrapins and sliders. Sometimes when they're really, really little, they're not great swimmers, so this plant material and rocks and other things allow them to climb up and grab a breath of air and not have to rely on swimming. Another thing is ensuring that the flow is not too strong on your filter. You do want to have an oversized filter. However, this one, for example, I went ahead and sort of turned it down, and I have it facing this wall. That way it's not really blasting the rest of the tank, because Jelly's not great at swimming. Also, something different in his tub compared to a red ear slider or a map turtle's tub, or any other species that I know of, is that he has those leaves over there. It turns the water acidic. It lowers the pH and it turns it slightly acidic, which little Jelly really needs in order to thrive. Overall though, the point of me showing you this guy's enclosure is that it's not very difficult to set up. And as you can see, little Jelly is thriving. He's getting bigger and bigger every day, and he has a huge, huge appetite. This is a very healthy and happy little spotted turtle. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of what I'm doing with my turtles, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video in particular, please give me a thumbs up and give me a comment down below on what type of turtle you guys have, or any suggestions that you have for me on what you want to see from me content-wise. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.